The chances that bring any archaeologist to the site that he excavates are nearly always many and various. In my own case, I had been excavating at Pasargadae, the capital of Cyrus the Great, and I was interested particularly to find out more about the indigenous Iranian contribution to the beginnings of Achaemenian art and architecture. To this end, I thought that perhaps an investigation of a Median site would help us more than anything else. And in the spring of 1965, I made a survey of the area near Hamadan, the ancient Median capital, with a friend, Tyler Young. We had spent the night at Malayer, which of course is only 20 kilometers from Tepe Nushijan, seen in the model here. And the following morning, we traveled the road towards Hamadan when I saw the outcrop of Nushijan in the center of the plain to my left. I thought I noticed a discoloration near the top of the mound which suggested an artificial occupation. And I took out the binoculars and I looked at this end of the mound, which faced the road 5 kilometers away, and I saw signs of a foxhole penetrating the earth. So I knew it was indeed soft and that we might have a cultural deposit in this position. And I climbed up this side of the mound to this point, and there had been very little pottery up to that moment. But when I reached the foxhole itself, I found that a sherd, such as the one you see here, with a horizontal handle stemming from the rim of a small bowl, was in the ground just where the fox had, if you like, excavated it. And this was the most important clue, because very similar sherds, such as the one here, had been found only a year previously by Professor Dyson at the site of Zivie, another 7th century site further to the north. So it was this evidence which told me first that indeed we might have a 7th century Median site here near Hamadan at this very point.
اگر نسوای تنم خدا بی پیست درگیل لا 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 وای سبزه ملو یوسم ای یواش در راه برو یو بی مروت جای پاد ببوسای ببالینم بیا وای سیرد ببینم ای که تا ساندهم خدا جان وقت مردن عزیزم حلقه و حلقه زلف دهول دار آی بر حلقه دلی کردی گرفتار همه ملت هجوم آرن به زوی الفت آی چه گنجش کان هجوم فلک آرن بر مار لا 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 وای یاد شیرینای خی سر دست ولوام دکمه حقیقه آی نچیده چرت چوگون تا شقیقه.
We have 4 major buildings, the fort here, the fire temple, the columned hall, and the old western building. The fort stands adjacent to this eastern court, had only a single entrance here to a guard room, and from there one could pass either up this ramp staircase to the rooms above, or below into these long, narrow storage magazines beneath the building.
سر دست ولوام دکمه حقیقه آی نچیده چرت چوگون تا شقیقه زودات و دهویس بردار نیستم آی اگر نسوای تنم خدا بی پیست درگیل لا 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 وای سبزه ملو
From the fort, a ramp led down through a doorway here into this south street, which emerged in a court here opposite the central fire temple. Back here, we have the entrance to the temple, still blocked at this point. And this is the stepped, lozenge-shaped plan of the actual temple, with its antechamber and main fire sanctuary here, with an altar, a single focus of worship in this almost cathedral-like room.
On occasion, a dust devil would come racing across the plain, and as it hit the top of the mound, work would come to a total standstill. Within the central temple, things were usually more calm, and in the present view, we see the floor of an upper chamber above the antechamber to the cellar. In this room, the kneeling worker is cleaning the floor round a circular aperture which is filled with shale, and this marks the point where the Medes, who had filled the room below, had come up because they couldn't leave through the door into the upper chamber, and then, of course, continued to fill the temple to the very top of the structure. In this view, we've begun to remove the floor, and we have finally exposed the upper part of the vault which supported the floor and formed the ceiling of the room below. Here some of the struts are still very much in place, although the arc has somewhat flattened, but as you can see, they're held in place by this thick mass of shale which the workers had filled the lower room with. That shale and the struts have now been removed, and we can see the full depth of the antechamber with some of its mud brick appointments. These include the deep niche in the wall which you see in front of you, which had a shaft that led horizontally to the outside and provided air and light to the chamber. And as we look down from the top, we see the mud brick bench, somewhat damaged, with a low basin at the far end. The bricks here represent a single skin of bricks, several courses in height, which eventually were used to block the doorway between the antechamber and the cellar as the filling process went forwards. And here you see the way in which the shale blocked the whole of that entrance above the Pickman, which was the entrance to the spiral staircase that led to the roof of the central temple. And then, brick by brick, almost clinically, Seyd Mortaza, our foreman, moved the blocking screen away and opened for the first time in 2,600 years the doorway that originally connected the cellar and the antechamber. We now are looking at the tall main cellar or sanctuary of the central temple. Here the workers had an enormous task, which was to take out the shale that had filled the whole of this high structure. And then a low wall came in view, just above floor level, which was an exciting development. And as the work continued, we eventually found that this was part of an L-shaped wall that protected a stepped feature that stepped inwards, as you can see in this photograph, as it went down. In other words, this was a fire altar with a fire bowl at the center of the square top of the altar. Here Said Mortaza is carefully cleaning soil from the altar and from especially the fire bowl at its center. You can perhaps see in this photograph traces of burning around the edges of the altar where the plaster shows signs of charring. And here my small pick is revealing the charred or burnt surface of the bowl towards its base. And I think when one sees this evidence, it's very difficult indeed to dispute the fact that this was a fire bowl at the center of a fire altar. Nevertheless, we still had to clear the whole of this enormous cellar in order to get a view of every constituent part of that important part of the temple. And here, the special skills of our workers, which might not otherwise have been manifest, became clear. These were men who had spent their lives excavating the vertical shafts of qanats or digging deep wells, and they knew very exactly how to extract earth with very simple machinery from great depths in a safe way. It was quite remarkable that nobody was injured in the whole of this complex process, which owed so much to the skill and resourcefulness of our workers. And so eventually the whole of the stepped triangular cellar, which you see in this view, was cleared of the shale that had filled it. And in the foreground we have the fire altar with its fire bowl at the center, protected by its secondary wall. The very focal point of worship in this religious site, in the heart of Media, exposed to our view.
To the right here, to the left as you look at it, we have a columned hall with, as you see, 3 rows of 4 columns. And this last building here is one which we believe may also have been an additional temple site. Finally, at the end of our last but one season, we found an area without any noticeable floor. So we dug down and down and finally found that there was here a staircase leading down to a rock-cut tunnel, which then followed in this direction for a distance of about 20 meters.